This is part 2 of our BigInt class demonstration, and we're in the BigInt test program right now, the client. This is the actual BigInt class, and as of now we have 3 constructors: a default constructor, which will give you a value of 0, a constructor that accepts a long, that will pick off the digits and give you an equivalent BigInt with the same value as long, and then the one that will take a string and convert it into a BigInt. And there's one more that we want. We want to have what's called a copy constructor. And I've got the code here for a copy constructor. And so I want a variable called j, which will be a BigInt. And I'm going to make a copy of I. If you look up here, I is a BigInt. And actually the declaration is up a little higher. So I is a BigInt right here. And I want to make a copy of it. And if I just do something like j equals I, I'm not making a copy of it. I'm having j and I both point at the same object, and that's not what I want to do. I want to have another copy of I, so that there are basically 2 copies that have that same value of 98765432110. Okay, so the signature is going to be BigInt, the name of the class, followed by another BigInt as an argument here. So actually this is pretty easy to do. Let's go down here and write our constructor, and we're going to pass in a BigInt, and we'll just call that n. And what do I want to do? Well, I just want to copy all the values over into my array. So digits sub I, I'm going to need to put this in a loop, equals n dot digits sub I. Okay, and how many times do I want to do that? I want to do it 40 times. So for int I equals 0 semicolon I is less than max digits I plus plus. And now what I don't have to worry about allocating a new memory, because that's done here every time. So it's already set aside a 40 element array for me, and this simply copies the values over into it. So now if I go back here to this, no suitable constructor found. Okay, it is working. It's a little slow getting rid of those warnings and error messages sometimes. So now let's try to run it. After I print out the value of I, 98765432110, then I'm going to print out j, and I should get the exact same thing. So the last 2 lines of my printout should be 98765432110 without leading zeros. So let's run it. And the first 3 lines are with leading zeros, the next 3 lines are without leading zeros. That's the exact same output I had last time, but what I added was a new variable j, and I'm getting a value of the variable j printed out there. So it's making a copy. It's making a copy of I. Okay. Now, another thing you might want to do with numbers, obviously, is do arithmetic. So we're going to write a public method called add, and it's going to return a BigInt that is the sum, and we're going to pass in a BigInt, and we'll call that the other number, other. And this is what I want to do. I want to go from the ones column all the way up to whatever the 39 elements column is. And I want to add each pair of numbers in digits. So first let me get my loop here. I equals 0. Remember, 0 is the ones column. As long as it's less than max digits I plus plus. Okay. And this is what I want to do. I think I need to do more than one thing here. So what I want to do is I want to add those 2 numbers up, and I'm going to put them in. I need to create a new one. It's going to return a BigInt, so I want to create a new BigInt. So we'll create a BigInt called result here, and we'll just use the default constructor to create it, so it's got all zeros in it. And then what we're going to do here is we're going to take the result dot digits at position I equals this is actually optional here, digits sub I plus other dot digits and then I want to take the whole thing mod 10, because I only want digits between, or values between 0 and 9 here. Okay, so I left my I out up here. Okay, so that will add the two numbers up. Now I'm also going to need another integer variable here. I'm going to have to implement a carry if the sum is bigger than 9. Okay, so actually what I want to do here is I want to add in the carry. And I had to initialize it to 0 because when you're adding in the ones column there is no carry in, but after that there is. Okay, so now I need to figure out if when I added those, if there was a carry or not. So carry is going to be equal to the sum of those numbers up there, and I'm just going to copy them down. I don't need the mod 10 though, because that'll always give me a number from 0 to 9, and my carry will always be 0. So I want to take that and I want to divide it by 10. Okay, and if it is 10 or more, I am doing integer division, taking an integer and dividing it by an integer. I'll get an integer for result, and if it's 10 or more, I'll get a 1 there. And then I'll go back and I will get incremented. I'll go to column 1 and I'll add the carry and so on. And that's all there is to it. Basically what we're doing is we're implementing in code the algorithm that you learned for adding two numbers when you were probably back in 1st or 2nd grade. And the last thing we need to do is we need to return the result. Okay, that's why we had that error up here. So now if I go back here and let's comment out a few more things here on comment, and so I want to do I plus, and I think that's what I called it, didn't I? No, I didn't. I called it add. I want to call plus. Okay, now let's go back over here, and whoops, I didn't mean to hit run. But now in a second or two, I think plus this red wavy line here will go away. It's just that NetBeans is a little slow at picking that up sometimes. So if I take J, yeah, there's the run that I accidentally clicked on. If I take J and it's going to be the same as I, which is 98765432110. So I'm adding 98765432110 plus 98765432110. And if I add those up, I'm not sure what I'm going to get. I'd have to work that out in my head. But let's run it, and let's see what we get for the sum. And if you take a piece of paper and work that out, which I'm going to do right now, we'll see if that's the right answer. And I just worked that out, and it is working correctly. Now there is a special case we would probably need to worry about here, but I don't think I'm going to take a look at it right now. And that is, what if you add two numbers together and you get an answer that is bigger than 40 digits? Then you'd have to have some way of indicating an error condition in here. And we're not going to worry about that for a while. Okay. Now I've also got a minus in here, and I'm going to skip over that. And I've got greater than or equal and less than, and those are actually pretty easy to implement. So let's go over here to BigInt.java. And actually, before we do that, let's stop the video there, and we'll do the relational operators in a separate video.